All right, everybody's favorite real estate and most exciting content topic. We're talking market statistics, and we're talking December 2020 in this video because they've just been released. Now, I know that this content topic can be a little bit dry and a little bit boring unless you're a market statistic geek like myself. So I'm going to make it short and sweet. I'm going to make it visual. I'm going to try to make it fun if that's at all possible. If you've been here before, welcome back to the channel. If you're new, my name is Mike Banks. I'm a local real estate agent here in the Edmonton area region. So if you have any questions about buying or selling or moving to Edmonton whatsoever, I'd be happy to help you out. My contact information will be in the description below. Call me, email me, text me, however you feel comfortable. So let's jump right into it. We're talking the Edmonton statistics right now for December 2020. We'll talk about the Greater Edmonton Area next, but everybody's favorite one to talk about, and that is selling price. So as you can see, the selling price average for December 2020 was $357,000, which was a little bit of a dip from last month, November, but over the course of the entire year, year to year, it was a little bit of an increase. Median, same thing, a little bit of a dip from last month, but an increase from year to year. So understanding the difference between average and median, average doesn't tell the whole picture because it includes everything, whereas median is right in the middle. Because when we start to look at individual types of homes, so single family, condos, duplex, and row housing, you see a different picture here, right? So the average price for single families was $431 compared to $357,000. For condos, it was $215,000, and for duplex and row houses, it was $336,000. So similar theme here, month over month, drop and a drop and a drop. But year over year, we saw an increase. We saw a little bit of a decrease from year over year with condos, but a little bit of an increase year over year with duplex and row housing. But it's these numbers over here, these are what really help tell us what the market is actually doing. So one of the most important metrics that we watch is sales to new listings, which is a matter of taking all of the current sales of the month, dividing it into all the new listings of the month. And when you do that, you get a number of 81.99%. So that is really high. Anything over about 60% is considered, depending on the school of thought and who you talk to, is considered a seller's market. So 81.99%, that's a very active market for especially December, which is typically a slower month in real estate. And as you can see, month over month, so again, similar theme from November until December, there was a pretty significant drop in sales as well as new listings. A lot of people aren't wanting to list their home during the holiday season, and a lot of people aren't typically buying homes during the holiday season. And then the bigger picture, because this is just month to month, so things change, right? From month to month, the market is moving. It doesn't really tell the whole picture, but when we extrapolate this out over the entire year, you can see we had 12,000 sales with 22,000 listings. So that was a sales to listing ratio of 54.5%. So that puts us right kind of smack in the middle of a balanced market. And if you want to help understand what the difference between a buyer's market, balanced market, and a seller's market is, click this link right here to this video right here where I explain all the three different types of markets more in depth. So again, another really big indication here is we saw a massive increase year over year. So from 2019 to 2020, we saw a massive increase in sales. We also saw a little bit of an increase in listings. So despite what you see in the media and what you hear from friends and family, about the sky falling, the real estate market crashing, well, the numbers don't lie. And 2020, as crazy of a year as it was, here in the Edmonton market for real estate, it was quite healthy. It was right smack in the balanced market. Another very important metric we like to talk about is months of inventory. And I should mention too that this sales to new listings ratio is generally considered an absorption rate. So it's how many properties are coming on the market and how many of them are being scooped up. So again, an absorption rate. So 81.99% being scooped up, that's a very high absorption rate. So another metric, like I said earlier, that we use and also kind of considered an absorption rate as well is months of inventory. So that's where you take all of the current inventory on the market. So in December 2020, there was 3,842 properties on the market, but there was 806 sales. So if you divide this number into this number, it shows you the months of inventory. So how many months would it take to basically wipe up all this inventory? And that was 4.76 months. So generally, it's considered 4 to 6 months is a balanced market. And as you can see, anything less than 4 months is generally considered a seller's market, which I'll link to earlier. That video will explain it more in detail. But we're knocking right on the door of a seller's market in December of 2020. Another important metric that we like to look at as well is days on market. So as you can see, single families, this light blue color is this year, the darker blue color is last year, and everything is decreasing. So we're down, so less days on market, less days on market, less days on market, and less days on market for every type of home. Single families, condos, duplex, and row housing, and then for all residential. So let's pop over to the Greater Edmonton area and see how things looked there. Now, there's a little asterisk here. I'm glad to finally see that this has been changed, because this used to be referred to as the Edmonton CMA, or the Census Metropolitan Area. And CMA gets very confusing with another popular CMA that we use in real estate, which is comparative market analysis. So as you can see here with this asterisk, the Realtors Association of Edmonton has switched it to the GEA, the Greater Edmonton Area. And the asterisk is just showing that it includes, Beaumont, Bonnecourt, Bruderheim, Kalmar, Devon, Edmonton, Fort Saskatchewan, Morinville, Redwater, Strathcona County, Sturgeon County, Sherwood Park, Spruce Grove, St. Albert, so basically all around Edmonton. Now, this is going to encompass all of these markets, so it's not an indication of the individual little markets, right? The Spruce Grove market will be different from the St. Albert market, and the Sherwood Park market will be different from the Kalmar market. But this is just kind of encompassing everything, but we see a similar theme that we saw with the Edmonton stats. So the average sale price was a little bit higher, because again, I'm not going to make a guess on this, but you are including some markets like Sherwood Park, St. Albert, that have higher end homes and more expensive homes. Sturgeon County, for example, there's a lot of higher end homes in Sturgeon County. So not surprised this average number is up a little bit. Month over month, of course, from November to December, not surprising, it's down a little bit, but year over year, it's up a little bit. And then the median price, $340,000, which again is down a little bit from November, but up a little bit year over year. The average single family home costs about $429,000 in December of 2020, and that is down month over month, but up a little bit over year. So same thing with the condos. Actually, no, it's not the same thing, sorry. It's down month over month, but also down year over year, which is actually what we saw with the Edmonton market as well with condos. And then for duplex and row housing, the same thing that we see with single families, and then also with the Edmonton market, down a little bit month over month, but up a little bit year over year. And then again, this same the same very important metrics that we look at, sales to new listings ratio. So taking this number, all the sales for the month, and dividing it into all of the listings for the month, we saw 85.8%. So even a higher sales to listings ratio than we saw for the Edmonton market. And then again, month over month, down quite a bit from November. Not surprising, and then listings also down quite a bit month over month from November. But when we look at the whole market for the entire year, which is a more accurate picture of how the market is doing rather than just month to month, because there's seasonalities, things like that, we have a sales to new listing ratio of almost smack in the middle, a little bit higher than what we saw with the Edmonton market, but it's 56.6%. So taking 17,000 sales divided into 30,000 listings. And again, year over year, sales are up a big portion, 31.47%. And new listings are down a little bit. So that's that whole supply and demand thing. When you have sales pressure up, but inventory dropping, it's going to put a little bit of pressure on pricing, right? It's economics and supply and demand 101. Now, when you take the months of inventory for the whole Greater Edmonton area, so taking this number of 5,005 listings divided into the current month of sales, we have a months of inventory 4.52. So same thing with the Edmonton market. Not really surprising. It's pretty similar. Is that we're kind of right on that cusp of almost, when you use months of inventory anyways, almost a seller's market. We're still considered a balanced market. And then also, just like we saw with the Edmonton market, days on market, the single family homes this year to last year, days on market are dropping. 64 last year, 53 this year, and so on and so forth. So those are your December 2020 Edmonton, as well as Edmonton, or the Greater Edmonton Area statistics. If you have any questions about making sense of these numbers and what the market is actually doing, or you're thinking about buying or selling, feel free. My contact information will be in the description below. Call me, email me, text me, however you feel comfortable communicating. I'd love to hear from you, and I'd love to help you out and make sense of these numbers. I'll see you in the next video.